There's no switchblade method.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. Mean streets.
Mean streets of Lake Bluff.
All right. Guys ready? All right. Good evening and welcome to this July 14, 2025, also known as Bastille Day. And I will not sing La Marseillaise. Thank you very much.
Oh, come on.
This July 14, 2025 meeting of the Lake Bluff Village Board of Trustees. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fried,
Here.
Trustee Hatch,
Here.
and Trustee Ryder.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flags of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There's only one. There's only one. Next on our agenda is our awards and proclamation, and there are none tonight, followed by our consideration of the minutes of a June 23rd, 2025 Village Board meetings. Is there a motion to approve the Village Board minutes?
So moved. Second.
Are there any changes to these minutes?
No.
I do not hear any changes. It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda also now is the non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocates 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. And I state your name and your address.
Only because I was here for Cal. Well, I bring this George Russell, 448 Gurney Avenue, just to quick follow up on my little PowerPoint presentation from a month ago with all the different things that the North Shore Water Reclamation District didn't do. $20 million project. It's very, very frustrating. I don't know how many trustees know this, but to this day, do you know that all 9 of those middle fence posts are still in the parkway on Center Avenue? It's absurd. It would take 2 minutes for a pickup truck and a 2-man crew to pull all those posts. The barbed wire, the loose barbed wire on the hill behind the yacht club compound, still there. It baffles me. Should we invite Tom Swarth out to the next meeting and ask him to explain this? Why these simple little things cannot get done? I'm assuming staff is calling North Shore 2 or 3 times a week with this punch list. Or are we giving up?
No. Mike Croak had a conversation with Steve Waters last week about the schedule, and unfortunately he's out of town. And he did brief me only a little bit on it, but they have a punch list. They're working through all the items. They have every intention of doing them all. They've done a lot of things that you've identified, but not all of them. And a number of items.
A number. One is, 2 is a number.
But
Oh,
some
well,
of
I'm
the
pleased
things-
to hear because I'd already, my passion since I retired is to try and help make the beach a better place.
yeah.
And I've already resolved in my own mind that the park district's going to eat all the minor landscaping things that needs to be done. So I'm pleased to hear that Steve Waters is actually saying they're going to do them, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Did they
everyone has much bigger problems, but it is certainly frustrating that they're treating us like this.
did they fix the canvas on the root balls? You know, they basically sunk the whole thing, not taking things apart. Did they fix that at least?
That's the one day, I think for 3 or 4 hours, someone came and dug up around all of them. Whether it was done properly, I don't know, but they did cut all the ropes off of all the big vegetation. So that was very important. I think because they realized it was going to cost them a hefty sum to replace all of those plants because they hadn't planted them properly. So anyway, thank you for your time.
Hey, George,
Okay.
thank you for your commitment. I really appreciate it. Any more residents willing to make a comment? And I do not see any more residents willing to make a comment. And do we have anybody online willing to make a comment?
Anyone participating in the meeting online wishing to make a comment on items not on the agenda, now is the time to raise your hand to be recognized. No one is doing so.
All right. Next is the village board sets the order of a meeting. The village president and board of trustees will entertain requests from anyone present on the order of business to be conducted during this village board meeting.
14, 15, 16 in that order.
14, 15, 16, without any objection on the board, moving forward to 14, 15, and 16. So let's move on.
Maybe we could take 16 first.
16 first, 14, 15.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, moving forward to item 16 on our agenda. Item 16 is a resolution authorizing memorandum of understanding between the Lake County Forest Preserve District, Lake Forest Open Land Association, Lake Bluff Open Lands Association, and the Village of Lake Bluff regarding land management within the Skokie River Ecological Complex. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. In 1994, the village granted itself a special use permit and approved a license agreement with the Lake Bluff Open Land Association, LABOLA, to construct, maintain, and manage a nature preserve and walking path on a parcel of undeveloped real estate, approximately 30 acres in size, located in the West Terrace subdivision, also known as the Skokie River Preserve. In 2010, following significant conservation efforts by LABOLA that were absolutely awesome, the same area was registered with the Illinois Nature Preserve Commission as an Illinois Land and Water Reserve. Immediately to the south of the Skokie Reserve Preserve is the Lake County Forest Preserve District Oriole Grove, an 86-acre preserve that straddles the Lake Forest-Lake Bluff border and connects two community natural areas. South of Oriole Grove lies the Skokie River Nature Preserve, which is Lake Forest Open Land's oldest and largest nature preserve, consisting of a mix of woodlands, savanna, prairie, and sedge meadows, typical of the bottomland areas of the Skokie River Valley. These properties face many of the same conservation challenges, including, but not limited to, alteration of pre-settlement hydrologic regimes and surface flow paths, increased input of stormwater as surface water flows carrying sediments and pollutants, decreased groundwater inputs, establishment and spread of invasive species, canopy closure, and loss of oak dominance in wooded habitats. In order to most efficiently battle these challenges and better achieve economies of scales, coordinate management efforts, share resources and information, and work jointly to secure grants, a more formal commitment is recommended for all the property owners in this Skokie Reserve Complex. The attached MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, lays out this foundation as well as contemplates the establishment of an endowment held by the Preservation Foundation of the Lake County Forest Preserves to support conservation efforts and land management goals. Comments on the board? So I should say also that Drew and I had a chance to meet with the Forest Preserve of Lake County. We had a nice meeting. We also know that there's a tremendous amount of goodwill between LABOLA and the Forest Preserve in Lake County that is doing an amazing job at conservation. And so to us, it is to our advantage to have this type of MOU to safekeep and further the effort that has been done by LABOLA in the Skokie, basically the 30 acres that is part of Lake Bluff, along the Skokie River.
the 30 acres is what is Lake Bluff land. And then in addition, I think isn't part of the forest preserve, Boreal Grove inside Lake Bluff?
It is.
It is shared, yeah.
It is.
Share, it's part of Lake Bluff and
Municipal
Lake
Lake
Forest.
Bluff.
So the 30 acres is what we own, but within the community,
Complex.
within the complex, there's additional acres that are in Lake Bluff.
And to make this a little bit more complex, there's more land that is also managed, that belongs to Jawa, that is managed by La Bola.
Yeah, there's 5 acres that we use to
Parking
park
lot.
Oh,
and enter through, so we walk from Jawa. And Lake Bluff Open Lands does own 4 of the lots in this scope.
Deep Preserve. Yeah.
the
The village scope. Deep Preserve.
But the point is, you have managed, La Bola has managed to create an environment of great beauty and sound ecologically, and that is what we want to conserve.
the work at Oriole Grove has just been remarkable in the last year or two. I went through there and the wildflowers that this has been a month or so ago, was stunning. I don't know if it was just cleaning that buckthorn out, right? I mean, that's what's enabled those to come back like that.
It fails to do. So that helps.
It's amazing. And, we're so fortunate to have that whole space. This is great.
Questions on the board?
No, seems
Sheena?
great.
Thank you. Kat?
Mm-mm.
No? If there are no more comments? Are there any public comments? Sue, would you like to say a word?
No, I think it would be really valuable for all of us to
Thank you.
Sue Raymore, 352 Briar Lane, Lake Bluff. I've been working with Lake Bluff Open Lands for about 5 years, and we really have been working with the Lake Forest Open Lands and Lake County Forest Preserve for 3 of the last 5 years. And as I say, the animals don't know who owns which piece of property, so we really should be collaborating. So we have been, and this is just a more formal way for us to look at potential grants, et cetera, as we move forward. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
I see that as a roll call vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Right, trustee Hatch,
Hi.
trustee Ryder,
Aye.
and trustee Freed.
Aye.
President Charlo should vote.
Oh, President Charlo.
Aye,
Yeah, vote.
oh, thank you. Yep.
We need 4.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Next on our agenda is item 14. And that would be a resolution approving a construction contract with Dimeo Brothers, Inc. for the Village of Lake Bluff West Scranton Avenue Viaduct Project Phase 1. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Jeff, I'm very happy you're here. We have been waiting for a long time for this phase to start. Thank you very much.
It has been a long time. Thank you. So yeah, we got our bids, and to go way back in time, George Russell was just here. He was also here in 2014 when this whole thing started. After some significant rainfalls and flooding in 2014, George reached out to Christopher Burke, and we have Lee Fell and Darren Olson here from Christopher Burke tonight. Darren was there, and he and George started looking at how to solve the viaduct flooding problem. So that initial study, 2014 to 2015, was mostly focused on how to make the viaduct drain and stop all the flooding there. After that, we had another round of really bad flooding in 2017, and the village budgeted for a study that expanded. So it was more the question of just how to drain the viaduct. What else could we do with this larger pipe to Lake Michigan? So we looked at other areas throughout the village, both attached to this project in the future and not, to find out what is the needs of the community in the storm sewer system. And now here we are trying to fund phase 1 construction this year to start. Other things that have happened is we approved the stormwater utility fee last year. Representative Schneider gave an appropriation of
2023, actually.
2023. Yeah, you're right.
Note to self.
We've been collecting money since then, so we have some in the account right now. Representative Schneider approved a appropriation for this project, which has been spent mostly on the engineering to get us to this point. And DCEO is Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. They have a grant to Lake County, and Lake County is dispersing pieces of to different communities. So we have a piece that's about $2.6 million for us to spend. The genesis of the project, again, was the flooding the viaduct. The viaduct floods at less than a 1-year storm right now. So our people are well versed in putting the signs out, blocking traffic, and then waiting a few hours and cleaning up the mess and opening it back up. But that flooding impacts public safety, schools, private property, and local businesses. That flooding both in the viaduct, and you see in the exhibit, it's hard to read, but all the blue areas are areas that flood right now that we identified throughout the village. So some of them in the viaduct, many of them not, which a lot of those would be helped by having this large trunk put in, and then the straws, as we call them, to the smaller streets and other areas to help it drain. Our design criteria is to have the streets dry in a 10-year storm and not flood homes in a 100-year storm. The viaduct is kind of a special case. It's a 50-year protection level with the proposed storm sewer that we have. That's the state standard, and going to 100-year is going to be just too expensive for the benefit of adding that extra. There's also, this is a part that I don't think has been publicized too much. At the intersection of Maple and East North, there's going to be a large water quality structure to remove solids, oils, trash from the runoff before it goes to Lake Michigan. So this should lead to a little better water quality. Right now, everything just dumps into the ravine and flows out. And speaking of dumps into the ravine, about 13 years ago, we spent about $1 million trying to stabilize the slopes of the ravine through Ravine Park and a little bit east of Moffett on the south side of Ravine Avenue. That erosion, a lot of it was caused by the viaduct blasting through that ravine. So by rerouting this to Lillian Dell, where we'll have some water quality improvements in that, we're also going to reduce the erosion in that ravine that goes through Ravine Park. And then also in Lillian Dell, because Lillian Dell has washed out several times in my time here just by large rainfalls overwhelming the storm sewer system. Now we should have less frequent of that happening, and we finish Lillian Dell this winter. It should be stable and stay in place for many, many years to come. And then also at the end of the project, East North Avenue is not the prettiest street in Lake Bluff right now. The pavement's in poor condition. The drainage is iffy. The shoulders are inconsistent. So we're going to reconstruct that with curb and gutter, like a proper urban street. And when we're done, it will be much nicer than it is today. So a couple weeks ago, we did open bids. There was a wide range, so $3.9 million to 6.4. We got 9 bids, which is great for some more bids than I've had in a project in forever, which is a lot to do with the scale of the project. BEP is the business enterprise program the state has to encourage contracts going to minority women or disabled persons owned firms. There is, with the grant, a goal of 28% BEP utilization. So this bid that we are recommending approval of meets that. And having that number met helps us get reimbursed for our grant more quickly. So that was important. Project schedule, be working in Lillian Dell up to Maple Avenue this fall. Supposed to be done by the end of this calendar year. And
Good.
then
Question
Yes.
about that. That seems surprising to me. It's 6 months to get what is supposed to be a gigantic tube into the ground, right? Because the one that's there is already very big, right? And so we're
48, the 48 inch right now doesn't actually go through Lillian Dell. It goes through East Washington Avenue, through 2 side yards into a different ravine, and then goes south and then gets into Lillian Dell that way.
oh, I see.
But
Oh,
this is compared to the rest of the project, it's a very shallow dig. When we are
Ah,
closer
I
to
see.
Sheridan, we're going to be tunneling. It'll be 30 feet deep. This is, I think, only 3 to 5 feet on top of the pipe.
will the new pipe be go straight down through Lilliandell, or will it go this same way that the old one does?
It goes straight down through Lily and Dell, and then they meet probably 80% of the way to Lake Michigan. And then there's an overflow structure, and then the existing pipe is maintained from that point to Lake Michigan.
Hmm.
So we're putting a bigger pipe into the same pipe, and then what can't go into that smaller pipe will then overflow up into a channel and go into Lake Michigan. And there are lots of reasons for that. Some are water quality, some of it's permitting through Army Corps. If you want to build something within X number of feet of the lake, it becomes much harder and more expensive.
That's why we stopped short.
So you stop a little short and then stabilize the channel out to the lake.
I see.
Any
So
further-
so there's not a big tube all the way out into the lake,
Right now, we
Okay.
have a 48-inch pipe that goes all the way out to the lake. We're putting in a 72. You can walk through it. It's 6 feet tall inside. And then, like I said, those two pipes are going to come together. And if you've walked down Lily and Dell, when you get almost to the lake, there's a ravine coming from the north that goes between Bluff Avenue and Birch.
Mhm.
At that point, they come together. There's a 8-foot by 10-foot concrete structure with a grate over it. And when the water can't all go through the 48, it comes up through that grate and goes into a channel, and it's a riprap channel. But the design is to seed that and make it look very natural. And we are gonna have a good benefit with that because the pipe's not gonna go all the way to the viaduct yet.
Yeah.
It's not gonna overflow frequently in its early years. And that should allow that vegetation to establish well in the riprap. Whereas if we just went all the way to the viaduct today and it overflowed twice a year, it would be harder to establish those seeds and plants. So that's not a great thing that we can't make it to the viaduct yet,
Yeah.
but it will help make that look more natural and not, when I say riprap, people picture the bright white rock.
Mhm.
So there's measures to make that look much more natural.
It looks like there's already work happening on North Avenue. Like there's digging
Mhm.
happening already. Ready? Is this?
That
somebody
is
else?
North Shore Gas moving their things out of our way.
Thank you.
And going from a 48-inch pipe to a 72-inch pipe is not gonna create, I mean, vice versa. It's not gonna create a bottleneck at some point in the future.
Well, as I said, the bottleneck is this 8-foot by 10-foot structure with the grate on top of it. So when you get more water, then go out the 48, because you're putting a 48 and a 72 into 148. It comes up, and then
So it could shoot
these
up.
gentlemen have designed the channel to stabilize that all the way to the beach.
Got it, thank you.
So is that still a drive? Is Lily and Dell still a drive?
It is, there is,
Yes.
Of course it is.
16-foot wide path, and then when you get to that structure, it will split into this, like right now, if you go down there, there's the flagstone path that's
Uh-huh.
much narrower.
Mhm.
That stays,
I see.
and that's your access to the lake from that point forward.
So it'll look a lot like it does today, other than actually look a little more natural is the goal in terms of
Yeah.
when we revegetate it.
Hmm.
We work with the neighbors who provided easements, and part of that is that we are going to build a private path for them on the north side to try to, it's always been a challenge trying to keep people on the public property
Right,
and not.
Right.
So we're trying to solve that a little better with making two distinct trails.
I see.
But yeah, I think there's some, what do we call them, like council rings going down right now that will
There's
move
some
out.
stones that got washed out and put back not the way they were, and they don't function as they used to. And that was the challenge. Every time we put money to Lily and Dell, it has rained the next month. And it won't rain for 3 years like that, but as soon as you spend money out there, it blows it out. And this should be nothing's bulletproof, but this is a lot closer than what we have
Yeah.
today.
Excellent. Well, it's exciting. The only comment I had was that, what are we calling this project? I know we've referenced it as West Scranton Avenue
Mhm.
Viaduct project. I guess it's west. It seems.
It
like
is West
it's-
Grant. Yeah, nobody pays me to name things.
Okay.
Not a good
I need to
name.
come up with a better
But
name.
It's a deep tunnel
It
project. That's what it's
says
called.
deep tunnel, but that means something else in sewers, so I get a little
Okay.
resistant to that, but the West Scranton Avenue
Good.
Viaduct drainage, that's what SMC uses for our grant. So
I
to be
see.
consistent, I've used that.
The
same
official
language
legal name.
In
Yeah.
those things,
I,
yes.
Christopher Burke names it Scranton Avenue Viaduct Drainage Improvement Project.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Same word, just in
it's,
different order.
It's more than that because there's the straws, right?
Oh,
This is the big transmission main that we will connect with other smaller pipes to solve other areas.
In the future.
I would agree with
and
Steve Brown.
as people read about it, they're gonna say, oh, something's happening on Scranton Avenue, West Scranton Avenue.
Yeah.
No, 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 it's happening on North Avenue.
Yeah.
All the way by the lake.
Yeah.
So it's counterintuitive that way, but I appreciate that it's all to get us,
Yeah.
get the work done on Scranton Avenue.
And like we said, this is phase one, which will get us to Moffett. The overall project is about 22 million to get all the way to the viaduct. So when we're done with this $4.3 million to do this phase, we have the utility, which we have the potential to bond. It used to be $10 million. It might not be anymore with interest rates as they are. That's a moving target, but that's kind of what we set up the utility fee to try to be able to bond. Our conversations with IDOT have been they're about $5 million in right now for the work in their right of way. We have that DCEO grant right now. There is potentially another round of DCEO funding, which would be another $2.6 million, which I think we are programmed for. It's just a matter of if the state gives the money to Lake County. Lake County gets it in roughly $30 million increments, and they break off pieces to different communities as they can use that $30 million. So I think we are in phase two is what we're getting funded right now, right of their DECIO. And if they do get a phase three, we are in line to get another $2.5 million to try to keep moving. So there still is a gap in how we get all the way to the viaduct. But also, as we get closer to the viaduct, our grant applications look much better. Because the cost to actually get the benefit when we do certain grants that have economic damage points, that economic damage is always downtown. But if it's a $20 million to get there, then the ratio looks worse. But as we get closer, those numbers look better and better. So our applications will look better as we need less money to close the gap.
I remember you saying that at some point we have to be 40 feet under, like the tunnel has to be 40 feet under. That's over by the viaduct, right? That's over.
Yes, that's when you get up from the viaduct going up Sheridan Road. I think we hit about 40 feet of depth, or are we in the 30s?
Make that right turn on North Avenue.
Yeah.
Road goes up and pipes going down.
So there's an actual right turn. It's not like, I'm fascinated by this. Can you tell? It's not like a diagonal over to North Avenue. It's like,
It is a right turn.
wow,
So 90-degree turns, yeah.
interesting. I guess water does that.
It will.
Go where we tell it to go.
You know,
Okay, I have always envisioned it going like,
When you're
catty
saying
corner.
30 feet, are you saying 30 feet from the existing top of pavement?
To the top of the pipe, yeah.
Yep.
Water likes to go on a diagonal better, but that is more expensive and takes more land, and it's a different route, and they have,
You
I
have
think
to-
if you have this much flow and you're that far underground, you have all that weight and all that head pressure, it pushes pretty hard, and that water will make a left turn and then a right turn.
So I'm actually quite encouraged by your discussions about funding, where you said that's a $22 million project. And doing the math of what you said, you were at 21.6, not counting the last two or something you named. So in effect, from a financial standpoint, we are pretty much meeting the goal, even though our federal funding disappeared about 6 months ago.
It didn't disappear.
3 months ago.
Essentially that 750,000 from Representative Schneider.
Yeah.
Well, SMC was going to take that anyway, because they have paid these gentlemen about that much in engineering. That's what they were going to use to pay them. So we're not really out
Yes.
that.
And that's what I'm giving to.
We're about 5 million-ish short right now. If we get another 2.5, like we can get there, and it'll take unfortunately years for us to even get the pipe that close to the viaduct. So we have lots more time to find more funding. We are looking at applying for US Army Corps funding. There's another Protect grant application that we did in 2025, or really early this year, that we haven't heard back from. I don't expect that to come through, but we had a much better application than we had in 2023 based on those economic factors and lower costs.
And I think generally speaking, the village's goal was to be 50-50, like we would fund half, but I think we're gonna do better than that.
And if we do find more money, that 10 million that we could bond, it would be wonderful to use that to put in some of the straws and benefit more people than just the trunk. Because
I mean, this is encouraging because this project has been marked by finding the money and going to beg at quite a few doors to get. And so we were told, yes, the first 250 was actually $13 million, became 250 before it disappeared in thin air. So that project has been very much like Drew and I looking for the money, finding the money sometimes. So I think we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, and all the engineering that's being done just makes our applications look better and better. So we are
Shovel ready.
when they are ready. So we did a survey that's a few years old now with the whole community just to find out where they saw issues. We incorporated those into the master plan. We have done a mailing to everybody on East North. We're going to do another mailing if this
But I think
contract
we did a direct letter to everybody on East North and a little bit of Maple,
and the easement.
and we had one
Mhm.
response.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do another one, presuming the board approves the contract tonight, and let them know, and then we're gonna reach out to them and say, hey, we're gonna start this community update system like we did for other, like our CBD streetscape projects. It's a good way for people to say, hey, I want to opt into this communication. So you get regular updates about the project. You can ask questions. So a community group, we're going to start that for this project. We've been using our communication channels, website, e-news. We'll keep using those, but we think that email group will be the best way to reach folks.
And the residents who are impacted when we're working on East North will have the phone number of the Christopher Burke person who is responsible and keeping track of the contractor every day. So if anybody has a driveway blocked or some other problem that they need addressed right away, they'll have the best person to talk to for that. So some of the risks here, our grants are fixed. It's not a percentage of construction. So every dollar that goes beyond is our dollar. So we're cognizant of that. Some things, the IDOT process of all these studies that go beforehand into the engineering makes it very expensive, but it does make you feel better when you get to construction, that the environmental studies, the geotechnical is all done. So there is a little more, you can depend on the cost more so than maybe some other projects that haven't done that much research. There is a potential. We are in a world now where if we touch a lead water service, it needs to be fully replaced. We will find more lead water services as we dig places. So those are maybe $15,000 a pop, not a huge number compared to the project, but still can add up if we find a few of those while we're there. And one way that we try to control costs is to have the full-time engineer from Christopher Burke there with the contractor to identify issues as they come up and also make sure that we are in full compliance with that grant, because that $2.4 million is important. And we want to make sure that every condition is met. The contract has penalties if they can't meet the schedule. We have to do a change order. You'll see that. It's very likely in a project this size, you'll see at least one change order. We try to bring those to you beforehand, but we're not gonna typically pause construction for 2 weeks and wait for
Really?
something. So we'll make decisions in the field if we think they're the best interest of the village, but we'll get those to you as soon as we can if it requires board approval. Probably a potential for, a project like this, 5 to 10% increase if we find things that we don't expect. Usually it would be unmarked utilities, just things you start digging, especially when you're digging that deep. You never know what you're going to find for sure, although we do have already relocating some water main and some sewer to get out of the way. So we think we've identified most of that, but you never know until you dig.
So I think I've asked you this before, but I'll ask again. When do you think the whole project's done? When are we actually going to be working on the viaduct? part
That
of this.
depends on the money. If we had all the money today, it would be probably 3 to 5 years from today.
Hmm.
So every year out, we spend looking for the money. I mean, I think there's going to be logically more than one phase. If we can get a phase that goes from Moffett to Sheridan Road
Mhm.
and then hand it off to IDOT for their part and just do the part in IDOT right away, that would be good. That's a long phase. That's probably $8 million for that phase.
Mhm.
So that's not easy to come by, but I think that's the logical next step. would
Yeah.
be to try to get the engineering done to there and then finish it up in the IDOT right away.
Interesting.
So the whole point of me being up here tonight is you have 2 agreements looking for your approval for the construction and construction engineering contracts tonight. And I think, we had 9 bids. The 2 low bids were very close. They're very close to the engineer's estimate. Feel good. I was very relieved that we got bids that close to the estimate, especially if the first one we opened was $1 million more, and there was a moment of panic, but eventually we got 2 bids that were very competitive. We feel good about DeMayo Brothers. Christopher Burke has worked with them quite a bit. They've worked in the village, not recently, but they are a well-established company. And happy to get them as our low bidder. And if we do approve this, we'll send a letter out to the impacted residents saying this contract was approved, expect this, this, and this to happen this fall and next spring. We'll get that email system up and running with people who want updates. We have a few weeks of exchanging information to get the contract signed, bonds and insurance with DeMayo. And then construction to begin in 1 to 2 months. Probably August might be a little optimistic, but sometimes they have a kind of a soft start where they do little things before they get their big equipment in. But they will be moving here this fall.
Is that a logo down there? Stormwater, do we have a logo for this project?
like-
No, that's Lake County. So the part of that's the title page to our plan set. Our logo is just the very blocked off, but it is a
Okay.
partnership between Lake County. They have been a very good partner. They funded the engineering. They have this grant. They've been looking for money for us. So Kurt and
Yep.
Ernesto at Lake
Kurt.
County have been very helpful to us.
Kurt has been the person in charge of this county agency, thank you so much, has been extremely friendly to us and has been really helpful because it is an important project to our village. And so I thank him personally and I
Yeah.
thank him for our village for that.
He's a smart guy.
Yep.
So if you have any questions, we have these folks here too. If you have any questions specific to any technical things on the design or their process during construction, but yeah, you'd say it's been a long road to get.
So that
here.
red line is, is the right-hand
That's the
turn.
deep tunnel.
Mhm,
Yeah.
The deep tunnel. Mhm.
And we're still messing with the railroad a little bit. They want it out of underneath that bridge. So if we can't convince them to let us do what we want, the tunnel will start south of the railroad bridge in that wooded area, kind of south of the path, kind of where you see the sand sewer over your head when you're walking on the path. This won't go over your head, it'll go under your feet, but that area would be impacted with some of those trees and
And you're not going below a train track at that point. You're staying on this side of the track.
it would start on the west side of the track and tunnel under the track. They just don't want us under their bridge
The
between their
footings.
apartments.
Not it. Okay. And so it would be a convenient location to collect as much water as necessary.
Yes, because you would take straws from right now, if you go up that path, there is a detention area.
Mhm.
And I think, somewhere in there, a lot of that water collects anyway. So we'd be able to collect it to provide the service to the pavement of the 50-year, not flooding the viaduct, but the main pipe would have to be moved a little bit south to make the railroad happy.
A little more expensive. It's not our preferred route.
Fortunately, IDOT has said they'd pay for everything in their right of way. That's not really in their right of way, but I think that's close enough. We should be able to figure that out.
Spirit of what they said they would do.
So that overage might end up on their bill.
Well, it's very exciting.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Any comments of the board, Shana and Kat?
No?
No. Well, I echo the comments from Suzanne. I'm extremely excited about this. It will be transformative to Lake Bluff, to our basements, collective basements, and to how people perceive Lake Bluff as a dry, sorry, I shouldn't say that, a not wet community. Thank you. Thank you very much. For completeness, I'm going to read the resolution for the community to get all the numbers that are involved into this effort. At 11 a.m. on June 25th, the village opened bids for the construction of Phase 1 of the West Scranton Avenue Viaduct Drainage Improvement Project. Phase 1 of the project includes the installation of a storm sewer pipe from near Lake Michigan in Liliendale to the west along East North Avenue to just west of Moffett Road. Future phases of the project will continue west along East North Avenue to Sheridan Road and then south to the West Scranton Avenue Viaduct. 9 bids were received, and the lowest responsive was submitted by Dimeo Brothers, Inc. of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, for a total of $3,869,271. The village consulting engineers for the project, Christopher B. Burke Engineering, has analyzed the bids and recommended awarding the project to Dimeo Brothers. Their recommendation is based on their prior experience working with Dimeo Brothers and their assessment of the ability of Dimeo Brothers to meet the requirements of the $2,441,077 grant that the village is receiving through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, and the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission, also known as SMC. The project is scheduled to begin this fall with work in Lilliandale being completed by the end of 2025 and work on East North Avenue being completed by October 31st, 2026. The village intends to award an additional contract for landscaping in the easement areas adjacent to Lilliandale in the spring of 2026. Those plans are still being finalized. The village fiscal year 26 budget includes $3.9 million for this project. The term of a grant requires the village to pay the contractor directly and be reimbursed by SMC up to the total value of a grant. The estimated net costs to the village for all construction and construction engineering services for this phase of a project is $1.7 million. Village staff recommends awarding the contract to Dimeo Brothers in the amount of $3,869,271. Additional comment on the board? And I do not see any. It is a roll call vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ryder,
Aye.
trustee Hatch.
Aye.
And trustee Freed,
Aye.
President Sharma.
and President Charlo.
Yes. Thank you so much. Next would be item 15, a resolution authorizing the execution of a construction engineering services agreement with Christopher B. Burke Engineering LTD for the Village of Lake Bluff's West Scranton Avenue Viaduct Project Phase 1. Could I please have a motion for, on this project?
So moved?
Seconded.
Thank you. In conjunction with the award of a construction contract to Dimeo Brothers for the construction of Phase 1 of the village's West Scranton Avenue Viaduct project, the village engineer solicited a proposal from Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Inc. of Rosemont, Illinois, for the necessary construction observation, project grant documentation, project administration, and material testing services associated with this project. Payment will be made on an hourly basis to include profit and overhead at the hourly rates as specified in the agreement. A cost not to exceed the amount of $398,795 is specified without additional written authorization from the village. Of this amount, the village will be reimbursed $183,825 through the grant that the village is receiving from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, and the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission. The village fiscal 2026 proposed budget contain adequate funds, sorry about that, for the construction engineering services, and the village engineer recommends adoption of the attached resolution approving the construction engineering services agreement. Comments from the board? Thank you, and that would be a roll call vote. Suzanne, do you have a comment to make?
I was just going to say, I gather, certainly been my observation that we've had a good track record with Christopher Burke. They've done well,
Yeah.
well by us.
So the gentlemen here in the room that have helped served us from the very beginning of the project, doing the master stormwater planning efforts and got us to designing the deep tunnel project that meets your branding terminology.
Yeah, we're gonna
Give me
read.
the
put
Village
branding.
West Scranton Avenue Viaduct project, phase one.
Yes is the short answer to that.
Yes, I thought as much, but
Yep.
confirming.
Thank you. I'm also being advised to consider public comments. Do we have anybody in the room who would like to make a comment?
Anybody participating online, now is a good time to raise your hand and be heard if you have comments to make on this item. Nobody's raising their hand.
Nobody? Thank you, guys. It is a roll call vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
President Charlo,
Aye.
trustee Ryder,
Aye.
trustee Hatch.
Aye.
And trustee Fried.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much for working with Village, creating this infrastructure that will be absolutely key to our village in the next few years. So welcome again. Next, and resuming order of business, it would be
7A.
7A, the warrants report for June 24th to June 14, 2025, and fiscal year 26 payroll expenditures to date. Is there a motion to approve the warrants report?
Motion to approve. Seconded.
Thank you. And that would be for expenditure of village funds for payment of invoices in the amount of $265,793.28 for June 24 to July 14, 2025, and for expenditure of village funds for payment of third payroll in May 2025 in the amount of $163,766.82 for a total expenditures of $429,560.10. Questions to Drew and staff or questions about the ledger?
No questions.
No questions. I've looked at the ledger myself, and I do not have questions.
I'm just gonna nag a little bit and say, can we get away from Amazon at all? Okay, just, they have to say
We
it
try to
every,
go the lowest price. and
yes. Target, Walmart,
We go with lowest price. I hear what you're saying.
okay. If I didn't say
It-
it, then you might forget.
Don't, yeah. No.
Any more comments? I do not see more comments. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fried,
Aye.
trustee Hatch,
Aye.
trustee Ryder,
Aye.
president Charlo.
Aye. Thank you. Next is our village administrators report.
I actually have two items tonight, really quickly. One is, you will start seeing around town signs and a lot of communications about an upcoming infrastructure improvement that's not the deep tunnel project, but the Green Bay Road and Bridge Reconstruction Project. There's an open house that we're going to have at the Public Safety Building on Wednesday, July 30th. Your presence is not required, and we think it'd be very well attended. This will be the third one, I think, on the project. And if it could become progressively, attendance has gone up dramatically, and we expect to have a full house from 5 to 8 p.m. We're going to talk, we're going to have the plans rolled out, a huge set of plans that show the beginning and end of the project from 176 south to Lake Forest on Green Bay Road, and have some schematics of what we think the bridge is going to look like, and the new crossings, road crossings, and generally trying to stay in the exact same footprint of the road that's there today, make some stormwater improvements and other utility improvements along Green Bay Road. But we expect a very good turnout for that meeting. The next item, as you may have seen in Friday's e-news blast that went out, there was a mosquito batch collected back on July 8th that had a Lake Bluff mosquito testing positive for West Nile virus. I think Highland Park had the first West Nile virus reported in Lake County earlier this summer, but it's the first in Lake Bluff. We put that information out generally, we give the same, we call them the 4 Ds of defense. We tell residents to, drain standing water where they find it, defend themselves with insect repellent, and beware of dawn and dusk, which are high mosquito activity periods, and wear dress for the 4th D and long sleeves and pants. And if they see standing water, that they can report that to Clark's information portal, which is clarkportal.com/hotline, which everything I just said is on the village's website. So if I spoke too quickly, or if I couldn't understand.
It didn't require any higher level of insecticide or whatever we're calling
We
it,
have
right?
not.
Okay.
Cool. That is all I have.
Thank you, Drew. Next would be our village attorney's report.
No report tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Next would be my report, and I have 2 things tonight. First and foremost, we had an eventful 4th of July parade. And I stress that an eventful 4th of July. There was no event. Okay, let's make that very clear. And so thank you very much to the 4th of July committee, to Jennifer Leventhal, to Josh Fox and their team of volunteers. I counted about 20 of them for a smashing success. Thank you to the village, police department, fire department, public works. Thank you, Jack and team. Drew says, first on site, last on site after the party. And I'm always amazed. About 6 hours later, there's not one paper in the village. It's awesome. And thank you also to the surrounding cities and villages who lend their supports to us, sharing safety stuff, including, this is new this year, the Great Lakes Naval Base. And so from my standpoint, it was a great success, and I'm very relieved we're past this event. And last, this past Friday at the Foresters in Lake Forest, we had and I quote, the lunch with the mayors. So both Mayor Tack and I had the chance to present progress in our respective communities. It was a success. We presented improvements in our communities that are going to affect that is going to affect the business community, Lake Bluff and Lake Forest. I presented 7 projects especially that will affect us. Block 1, Block 3, the Stormwater D project, or whatever that West Scranton thing is. Deep tunnel. The next is the Green Bay Road and Bridge that will affect our communities. This is going to be important. It's going to affect safety. It's going to affect kids and buses. It's not going to be funny. And then we have right now our Sheridan Road resurfacing that has started July 7th, and that will end October 31st, right?
End of the month, end of October.
Somewhere there, but 75 days of work. We had I described our Lake Bluff Beach NSWRD project with George's comment, including a punch list. And last, we talked about the 41-176 interchange project. You might have noticed work on the northeast side of the intersection that is a pump system. That system will take 5 years, and the real work on the improvement will start in 2030. Okay, but that's the timeline. And that is a state project, and we're part of that for anything affecting this. Those are the projects. People were grateful. People were very interested. It is important to give that message to the community.
Is there any redesign? I know at one point we talked about redesign of that exchange. Is that exchange staying basically the same way it is, or is that going to be?
Yes, it's essentially the same.
Yeah, I
The-
recall
the
some years
biggest
ago,
difference-
the discussion of making it a normal entrance and exit, but
It was very close on the east side, that they talked about having a roundabout as opposed to a signal, but the IDOT was not comfortable with the potential of vehicles stacking across the railroad tracks.
mhm.
But it's essentially the same intersection you see today. The difference on 41 is that you're gonna have dedicated acceleration and deceleration lanes. That's the main issue from a safety perspective on
Yeah.
41. But that's the biggest difference.
Thanks.
Any more questions? And that will be my report for tonight. Next would be our consent agenda. And our consent agenda tonight is item 11, the acceptance of a correspondence. Correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational report on June 27, July 3rd, and July 11, 2025. It would be item 12, an ordinance amending Chapter 9, Animal Control, Article A of Title 5, Police and Public Safety, and amending Chapter 5, Residence District, Article 10, Zoning Regulations, by adding Section 10-5-17 in the Lake Bluff Municipal Code. And last, item 13, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a replacement vehicle, police vehicle, and declaration of a police vehicle as surplus. Is there a request to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? No. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on these items? All right, thank you. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
All right, trustee Hatch,
Aye.
trustee Ryder,
Aye.
trustee Charlo, sorry, President Charlo,
Yes, thank you.
and trustee Fried.
Aye.
Thank you. We have discussed 14, 15, and 16. And next would be on our agenda would be number 17, the trustees report. Do any trustees wish to make a comment?
No.
I thought of something and now it's gone, so no. It's gone.
We'll have no executive session tonight. And the
Okay.
minutes, we'll put the minutes from the last meeting on the agenda next 2
Got it.
weeks.
So thank you very much for, we do not have item 18 as declared by Drew. That will be reported in 2 weeks from now. And we are basically about to be adjourned. Could I please have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
But I've-
I went to, right when you said it, I was like, I could bring it up, and then I thought first thing,